Yes, you're very welcome back. Love triangles, secret kisses, dramatic breakups, and 16 strangers sharing one bedroom. There can only be one place you'll find all that.
All of that, yes, here too with the latest gossip coming from the Love Island villa is pop culture podcaster Padraig Wilson McCarthy. But before we chat to you, let's have a little recap from all the action in the villa.
Let's go.
I really, really liked the way things were going with Emily, and but I'm just thinking, if I look back at this and like
the what if,
I fancy you, and I'm like, why am I acting like I'm married?
At least give me like a heads up, like, yeah, I fancy Megan.
And he's not mentioned her name.
No, and he's not mentioned it to me.
I feel awful.
It's not a big deal, but a heads up would have been nice.
The night that there was someone to be potentially dumped, we thought it was a little bit insensitive how you was like banging on about how happy you and Conor were and that he was going to pick you.
But like,
we're not the best of friends.
Okay, nice job.
I can see a relationship with Tommy and I can see like a sexual side with Conor, so I'm like, well, I need both. It is weird, I'm like, there's missing pieces of the puzzle with both of them.
She's gonna start talking to other people now.
This is flipping wife swap, bro.
Ooh, it's all heating up with the Irish.
Yeah. It's roasted
The Irish look good this year.
Really good, actually. And I don't know, I can't recall, do we ever have an Irish couple together? A boy and a girl together who were both from Ireland? I don't think so.
I don't know if we've ever had two Irish in the one show.
In the one show, there's only one token Irish,
once.
usually.
Maura and Greg were the same series.
Okay, right, so Conor from Limerick, Megan from Ireland, look like they're going to maybe hook up.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a funny one because we didn't really see this coming. It just came out of the blue. Look, at the start, they're all getting to know each other, and it's still very much at the start, and they're still very much getting to know each other.
Okay.
But during the week, Conor recoupled with Emily, right? And Emily, I think, was coming on a bit too strong for Conor. Like, he said it himself. He's like, look, I'm an independent person. I think he's an only child. He's got different social groups, so he's like, I'm used to doing things on my own, and I think she's coming a bit hot and heavy, right? He also kind of said, look, she spends a lot of the time hanging around with the lads, so he doesn't get really a break from her. So he was talking to Dejan about this, and the next thing, all of a sudden, he says, and now it's making me think about Megan. Well, I was gagged anyway. I couldn't believe it.
Are you gagged?
No, I was delighted, don't get me wrong. I was saying it'd be like a royal wedding, or a version of the royal wedding.
Is she popular?
She's popular.
Are both of them popular?
Both of them are coming across really well. She's a girl's girl, right? There's a bit of a divide in the girls, but she's in kind of like the main group of the girls. They all really like her. A lot of the boys are showing interest in her as well. She's been coupled up with Tommy since the beginning, and they haven't really strayed. He's all about her. He's also coming across very well. He's just really way more chill. He carries himself really well. You know what I mean? And people like him.
Right, good stuff there. We have it. An Irish wedding on the cards in Love Island Villa.
Sometimes I'm like, I love it, I think it's great. Other times I'm like, because they're both Irish, I'm like, they're a bit like cousins. But I just, you know what I mean? It's that kind of...
Well, that's
a bit off-putting.
That's what the English are thinking as well.
You know, when you're watching it, it's lovely to hear the accents, though.
Totally. And
it's lovely to hear the accents.
An all-Irish couple winning the UK version of Love Island. It'd be brilliant.
Yeah. We'd love it. Fixed, wouldn't it?
And Megan definitely has a Maura Higgins vibe off her.
Without a doubt. She's really outspoken, actually.
Yeah.
As I said, like, she's one of the girls. She's no bother speaking her mind, and she'll tear any of the boys down if she feels like they're doing it in injustice. So it's great, and I think...
And there is a recoupling tonight, so we may see...
There?
Yeah, it was the cliffhanger last night to get you to watch tonight, which we'll all be doing because there's a recoupling.
Yeah, and it's the first time there's a recoupling where there's an equal amount of boys and girls. So people are speculating now whether we might lose the first couple, because we haven't had a couple leave yet. We've had single people leave. So.
And it is about time a couple left.
But you know what? I think it's good because in previous series they've got rid of people very quickly, so we didn't even get to know them.
Yeah.
They've left people in there a long time this time, so we actually get to know their personalities now as well, which has been nice.
Okay, that's grand. Okay, well, let's move on then. So Toni and Shakira versus Emily.
Yeah, so Shakira and Toni have this like bond, right? I suppose when Shakira went in first, she was one of the original girls. She didn't have any qualms in getting to know all the other boys, which kind of annoyed the other girls that were in there. Toni came in as a bombshell, and she was automatically kind of
the
excluded.
American one?
She's the American one,
okay.
who I actually really enjoy. She's good crack, right? But they were kind of both excluded, and they kind of formed this bond as a result. It's kind of them versus the rest of the girls. Yasmin came in then with Emily. Yasmin is also also kind of excluded. She's also involved with those two. But the two of these have taken a disliking to Emily. Probably because Toni was coupled up with Conor.
Are they being mean though?
They're being a little. It's coming across a little bit nasty because there's a lot of like behind her back speaking about her and that kind of thing.
Right.
But it all came to a head this week because Toni spoke about it to one of the other girls, English Megan, not the Irish one, and she English Megan, right? And she basically said, look, she's a bit nosy, she's a bit Little Miss Sunshine. You know, I don't really like her. I think that everyone had the same idea. But that wasn't the case. Megan obviously went back and said it to Emily, and it all kicked off. The most iconic moment from the series so far is when Emily's speaking about Toni. Toni walks past her and she just does this to her, you know? And it's just brilliant. Like, it's just perfect viewing. Because I even think Toni thinks that was a bit cringe, but I've done it now. I need to commit to it. Like, you know?
Come in, tell us about Yasmin.
Yasmin, yeah. Yasmin's a funny character. Yasmin came as a bombshell and no one really knows what to make of her, right? She's very poised, she's very put together, she's a bit static. A lot of people in line are saying, is she a robot, right? Some people are like,
she's AI generated.
AI generated because she's just a little bit. Sometimes I'm watching her and I'm wondering, is there a spark going to come out of her ear? You know, that kind of way. She just sits there.
A fembot, isn't that from Austin Powers?
Yeah,
remember?
exactly, right? She just sits there. Like, even when she's flirting and when she's fighting, she's got the same expression on her face. It doesn't really change, right? So people are kind of wondering what's going on there. She's a very interesting character. She's bringing the fire in there too.
She was kissing Harry.
Yes, so people actually think that she's a plant, that the producers have put her in there on purpose because she's that
cause trouble.
Yeah, right. She is like kissing. She was showing interest in everybody, but then it was Harry actually was kind of what kicked it all off this week. You can only go into the hideaway this series, as you probably know, if you're with somebody who's not in your couple. Right? So you can't go into the hideaway with
your partner.
No, you have to go in with somebody else.
And how do you get them in there?
Just ask them.
And they have to go, or
you don't have to go in there at all. But most of them are just hanging to get in there. You know, that's where all the smooching is happening.
So you can take a different partner in there and smooch away.
Have a smooch away, and that's what happened. Harry brought herself in, and they're having a bit of a
Harry
flirt.
and Helena were sort of coupled up.
Yes, right. And look, Harry is being painted as the villain this series, probably for good cause, right? Because he's everywhere. His head is spinning like a ballerina. But they went in, they had a smooch. They came out. They didn't tell anyone, but it came out in a game later on that evening. And Yasmin, plain as day, just told them all, actually, we smooched 3 times. Oof. So that was it then. Helena was off on one.
Tell us quickly about Spin the Bottle. That was what most of them...
last night it was in half an hour, Spin the Bottle.
It was crazy last night. There was loads of confessions coming out. In it, Irish Megan was asked what she thought of Conor, and she said, there's unfinished business. Unfinished business is the quote of this series, by the way. You know, you've had mugging me off, and you've had, pulling for a chat. It's all about unfinished business in this season.
And then when they're kissing, it's all... the noise of it drives me mad.
They turn up the mics.
They turn up the mics.
Listen, our Love Island specialist, Padraig Wilson McCarthy. Thanks so much, man.
Pleasure.
And a recoupling tonight, and don't forget you can watch it on Virgin Media Play and Virgin Media 2 from 9 o'clock.
There you have it. That's all we have time for today. Maureen's going home to fix a plug, isn't that right?
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow at 7.
Have a great
good one.
day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.